Hi, friends and family. Today, we're going to talk about family functions. Now, what does that mean? No, not WTF, what's the function of the behavior? We're talking about those long drives in the car. We're talking about Thanksgiving. We're talking about Christmas. We're talking about all the holiday seasons. You know, grandma and auntie coming in for the big squeeze on the cheek. How do you get your kids prepared for your family functions? We're going to give you some tips and tricks here on the Purple Couch Podcast.
Welcome to Pam and the Purple Couch Podcast, hosted by Pamela Furr, with our co-hosts, Dr. Manny Rodriguez, Missy Owen, and Loki DePristo. Together, we're going to dive deep into topics such as education, neurodiversity, autism, and applied behavioral analysis. Remember to click subscribe today so you don't miss out on any future episodes.
Hi, friends and family. So here we are back on the Purple Couch. Today, we're going to talk about your family functions. What is it like when we get all of our family together? Well, even for neurotypical families, that can be chaos. Why? Because you've got families you haven't seen in years, cousins you don't even remember, aunties and aunties and uncles and relations. The names just come out of the blues. You know, Gigi, gorgeous grandma, Titi, abuela, all of these wonderful names. And our kids are looking at you like, who is that? Why are they touching me? Mm-hmm. And if you have kids that don't want to be touched to begin with, how do we prepare our families to understand not to be offended by the differences within our children? Mm-hmm. Today, we're going to give you some tips and tricks, and we're going to talk again openly about things we've all experienced with our own families. And Loki will give us some insight on us and our obnoxious family gatherings and what he does to socially prepare himself, all so that you can be prepared for the holiday season ahead. So, Manny, I am only going to you because you've got 5, a little bit larger than we, and I'm sure you have that even in your own family dynamic is grandmas and aunts and cousins, and then the cousins' cousins, and oh my goodness, thinking about family reunions.
Yeah, I mean, we have a big, large family. And we're all kind of scattered these days, but, coming from a Cuban background, it's not unheard of that if we have a big family gathering, you're talking close to 100 people, easy. So for, our kids, a couple of them in particular, they share, we see them every other week, and the other week they're with their mom that doesn't have a very large family. So I remember the day, it was years ago, but I remember the day my son Aiden was introduced to the Cuban family, and to say he was shell shocked would be an understatement. He just hid behind me. He didn't want to socialize at all. It was quite the shock, and so that was a first lesson to know that one thing I didn't do at that time was prepare him for it. And so after that experience, one of the things that I love doing is preparing the kids, showing them pictures of the people they're going to see.
Smart. That's a good one.
Showing them, we do what do they call it? Like a game where we essentially simulate the gathering. So my family's big on playing dominoes, and there's music in the background. So we did a domino game, to let them know. And my son actually got into it. He's like, I want to play dominoes now. So, anytime we do a family gathering, he's like, where's the dominoes?
Nice.
So we set up the domino table. Music's got to be playing in the background. It's not just any music. It's loud Cuban music, Spanish music. And so, we kind of simulate that.
You're desensitizing.
Yeah. And it's helped them, understand what is this like outside of our norm? Because it's just the 7 of us at the house now.
But I also, you don't need to have the family for you to say, okay, it's Domino's night.
It's Domino's night.
I love that. Yeah. That energy just, while you're saying that, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it's like us playing Munchkin.
Yeah.
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 I know that for Loki, one of the toughest things, because, so my grandmother is his great-grandmother.
Okay.
And I was blessed to be raised with my great-grandmother still living. So that would have been his great-great-great-grandmother.
Okay.
And so we grew up every Sunday, you were at the farm, and everyone had dinner there. He wasn't privy to that. He came in the generation after. Mm-hmm. And so I know when we had our first family functions, like the Thanksgiving dinner with everybody around. Loki was very advert to older, elderly people.
Yeah,
Do you remember that?
I think I do. Yeah.
You wanted, as much as his nanny is amazing, and she's like the nanny you would see, like Miss Doubtfire. That's the best way. West Virginia nanny, was raised on a farm with 13 brothers and sisters, so that's my nanny. And oh, you sweet thing, or oh, God bless your soul, yes, that's our nanny, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, for him as a child, she was also the nanny that, oh, come here, sweetie. Let me give you them squeezes. How's everything going? And
I feel like his face says it all.
But with like I don't want to be mean to old people, but just like it's like the whole like grab by two shoulders into hug into smooch, and then it's like when you get older you understand it. Okay, when you get older you understand it and respect it, but when you're young you are like you're like a dog, a newborn dog in the world going like what is this stop, but like yeah.
My son even taught me this a few years ago. He was comparing different family dynamics. He goes, when we go down to Miami, where my family's from, they hug in front of you. Like they come to you,
Nice.
They're in your face, and it's very large and like very like abrasive. He goes, I don't like that. I'll go to the side and I'm giving them my elbow.
Oh, I love this.
And then he said, but there's this other part of our family that he says they hug like with the side. So they bring their arm around you and they like tap you on the shoulder. He goes, I like that better. That's better for me. I like that. And so he was teaching us like, and I didn't know that he was processing all that. But because we talked to him about why don't you hug? He goes, I don't like hugging. He goes, I don't mind a side hug, so things like that. But I realized after he told us that, it's like, yeah, my family's pretty in your face about like a hug or a kiss or something. And a lot of people don't like that.
I really love that.
Yeah, he taught us that. That was cool.
But at the same time, that is father-son.
Oh, yeah.
If you do not see the data, can you not see that? That sounds like something Manny would be like, well, I took data on the rate of the hug.
That's what I did too.
The length, the duration of that hug was 45 seconds. So
and what if it
grandma
smelled like?
Now we're talking.
And my son is that guy. He won't do it to the face, but especially with some of our elderly family members, he goes, Abuelita smells different. And it's
I believe that smells different, huh?
Yeah.
I
don't know. I can't quite tell you what the scent is.
Curious.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The other, I'm sure a lot of our families face this too, but my daughter Sabrina, growing up, she was known as the quiet one. Right. And so it almost became kind of a stigma. Like my family, who is not quiet, very loud, Cuban, proud family, would say, why is Sabrina so quiet? Why won't she talk? And I didn't get mad at first, but at first I used to tell them like, well, it's because you guys don't stop talking, because they would talk, and they wouldn't even give her an opportunity to say anything. But it became kind of interesting as time's gone on. Sabrina has grown out of that, and she's kind of shaped her, reinforced to talk. But at first that must have been really challenging for her. And I don't think I did an adequate job at the time, because now she's 12, at the time to really like prepare her for having conversations and those
You
dynamics.
did what you needed to do. Let's be positive.
Sure,
Let's change how that was.
At the time, I was okay. And
It gave her the space and confidence for her to grow in her own.
Yeah.
So even by you acknowledging to the family, well, if you all would be quiet for a little bit, maybe she would have some space to talk. You were still advocating for her.
Right.
So give yourself some knowledge and credit there.
Yeah.
We're going to change that.
I agree.
Because I'm sure, and I think a lot of parents have to do that for their kids because they don't speak for themselves sometimes. They don't advocate for themselves.
Well, some kids.
Some kids.
Some kids. Loke, I love you, and I don't know if you can remember this, but families, I'm sure that a lot of you that have neurodivergent children at home, they also have the different side of that hat, where instead of filtering what they would say, man, Nanny, your breath smells.
We're honest.
Yes, you're very
this
honest.
This is not even like a family meetup sort of thing. Whenever mom just sort of makes food, I say like, okay, this needs more salt. It's you put way too much cheese on this. I cannot like taste any other thing other than cheese and sauce. Like, what happened to everything else?
But, so let's think about that. Even with Pat coming into our home, that was a shock for him. So Loki and I have built a relationship on honesty.
Yes.
And that comes with being blunt. And there's sometimes that people around us will actually look, because Loki will tell me, he's like, Mom, I appreciate dinner, but I just can't eat this. This is not to my liking. Or like he said, Mom, this is too salty. Or, hey, you knocked this right out of the ballpark. But we don't have the little white lies in our household that some families allow to go through. It's never been with Loki from the time that he started with his vocal expression.
Yeah.
So when nanny or grandma or anything that would come up, where most kids would, like you said, your son hiding behind the leg. Well, when Loki started talking, even now, as he is.
I'm what?
I know.
What, do you want me to like cover my mouth doing this? Like, now I'm getting more attention to myself.
Yes, yes, actually. But just like that, he would bring the attention to it. It was, Nanny, you smell bad. Nanny, what did you have to eat? And then Nanny's like, oh, well, honey, I just ate an onion. Well, no wonder you smell bad, Nanny. But that can come across to other family members as being rude.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is, well, why didn't you tell him not to say that? Well, why? He's speaking the truth.
Mm-hmm.
However, I do want to say, I'm speaking my own mind here as well. I think even though kids, I guess, like me, that like have the same sort of manner of speech that I do.
Yes.
While they should have their moments of honesty, I feel like the parents should have their moments where they teach the kid hubris for being so
blunt.
Yes, because I learned the hard way from Mom saying that you should not say a food's bad while in the middle of the restaurant. And yeah.
So that's teaching differentiation, right?
Yes.
Scenario based, right? Time and place
Exactly.
of when you behave a certain way versus not.
Exactly. And for us, it's like he said, it was a hard lesson, because there were a lot of people in our family that would get offended. They're like, did he really just say that?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yes, he did. And we're coming from a time where he was just learning to speak. We were just getting expressive language. And I know many of our families that are out there have gone through the same thing, that finally, once your child has started speaking, we don't want to tell them to stop. And if that means they come out with full honesty, then they come out with full honesty. But at the same time, just like we were talking about in the other episode about shaping.
Yeah.
You can be like, oh, Nanny, you just had an onion, didn't you? And see, that's a prompt to tell Nanny, keep your distance, vampire. Or another thing that Loki has been amazing, even with my own self, is learning not to really care. We can love our family and our friends, but our family and friends also need to love us.
Yeah.
And that means acceptance, not tolerance. Acceptance. So Loki's going to be straightforward. I know that, even
but
now.
But that leads to better relationships through compromising and optimization.
Yes.
Yeah. However, I do want to say, I don't know how much time we are currently going through right now. And I know it's been a very me/child-centric episode. I want to know personally, so I can listen into this, how do the parents feel, just generally, about their child in those situations?
That's a good one.
How the parents feel trying to make their child sort of adapt to not even family gatherings, but Christmas, Thanksgiving, stuff like that. How do you make your child go through their first Thanksgiving or Christmas without any sort of what's going on, what's happening?
So I think the biggest thing that we can talk about, and I know, Missy, you do with the clinical side with the school, because we do multicultural night.
Yeah.
And even then, it's like Manny has with his children, desensitized. So we have a lot of children that have food intolerances or allergies, and the traditional Thanksgiving dinner may not be. It wasn't what Loki ate. Turkey and mashed potatoes and gravy.
I couldn't eat mashed potatoes until I was I think like 9 or 8.
Something along those lines, yeah, because of the texture.
Yeah.
So he would have chicken sandwiches.
Yeah.
But we knew that in advance, and I didn't expect his aunt, my sister, or my grandmother, or who was hosting the event to make a second meal for him.
Yeah.
But I came prepared. And I think that is how parents need to look at the holiday seasons, is they know their child, just like how you and I were talking about with our honesty. You know your child.
Yeah.
It may be hot dogs for Thanksgiving dinner if that's their jam.
They're not going to immediately understand the traditions, or like, do you think your 3-year-old's going to learn how to pick a wishbone? Like,
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and even like the tradition of sitting at a table. So
yes.
if you think about young kids
Mhm.
and elementary school age kids, right? Sitting at a table for the amount of time that is tradition for
Yeah.
the dinner could be really daunting for a kid. And
Absolutely.
if you don't prepare them in
is.
advance, you might be in for a very hard time. So that
And
to
what
me,
about
that's-
traveling?
and traveling as
That
well?
too.
Yeah, that's a good.
You
one.
know, we were just talking, and Missy had shared with us, what were you missing? The snow days.
Oh, snow days, yes. Yes.
You know, we are
No
blessed.
snow days
We have
down there.
hurricanes here in Florida, but a lot of
Oh,
our
yeah.
northern families, our Midwest families, they're traveling. And how do we prepare our kids for traveling just to even get to the event?
I don't think snow days are the same as hurricane days. I'm gonna be a little bit honest. I think some
Snow days are funner than hurricane days.
I think one has a little bit more of a risk than the other. I don't know. Just me.
You
just-
haven't driven on black ice.
No, black ice, then you have the white.
Well,
stuff
okay,
that's
you can
fancy.
walk. You could walk during a snow day,
Oh, wait.
technically, right?
Oh,
No.
this is a
And then get hit by
Floridian now.
car.
Can you
Nah.
get that right?
Nah.
What? Okay, so what? You got to
Exactly.
shovel snow. Yeah, sure.
Have you shoveled snow?
So this
No.
is actually-
It's awful, man.
But I
It's so
shoveled
much worse than you
soil.
would think. Yes.
Actually, this is a great, segue. A lot of our families that are watching, hopefully they're preparing for the holidays. Here's a great example, that someone that may not know or have experience
Yes.
with what driving in snow, what a snow day looks like,
Know
and
how
you
to
have,
heat up the
all of a sudden
cars.
say, "Hey, we're gonna go to West Virginia for the
Oh,
holidays."
100%.
Let's talk about
If
what
we were to take
expect.
and all of a sudden
Yeah.
go back and spend the winter season. Now, for us in West Virginia, that would have been our best snow is in March.
Yeah.
So imagine us here in Florida being on spring break, and we go then to our northern or our family that's, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and you get hit with a snowstorm. That's another thing that you've got to prepare your children for. I
Yeah.
think, Manny, that was the best advice when you said about preparing your kids,
Yeah.
being honest with your children and preparing. So what does that mean? How about games? How about having their own snacks, their own meals already prepped and ready? And, while I'm thinking about these tips and tricks, if you or your family at home are enjoying this podcast, I invite you to please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share this. Share this information so that your family members know they're not alone. And if you are not the family member of a neurodivergent child or neurotypical child, and you're the host this year, please remember those families that do have children. Maybe picking up the phone and calling your cousin and saying, "Hey, I know Johnny has a specific food that he likes. Is there something I can do that makes this more welcoming?"
Yes.
Another part is don't put the restrictions down on the children that they have to sit at that big table. Even
Have them
growing up.
slowly get into the traditions instead of
Yes.
actually going and immediately trying to force them into tradition.
Well, yeah, think about how many families nowadays, and I know we've asked this at Puzzle Box, eat family dinner. They're on the go.
It's not as common.
No. Everyone either eats in front of the television or mom and dad eat at the dinner table and their kids take their plate upstairs. We've really gone so far away from family dinner time. And family dinner time was a time to talk, to have conversation, to practice etiquette, to bond with each other. So remember that if you're about to throw your child into a situation where we're looking at a huge family gathering, let's prepare them in a smaller, safe environment like their home where they can get ready for that.
Yeah,
And like Loki said, the last thing to think about would be, oh my gosh, now I'm at a table with 15 people and I'm
Yeah.
not even used to sitting at a table.
oh yeah.
And there are parents, we all have seen them, and I've been a culprit myself, that all of a sudden we're in front of other family members and we're like, Loki, don't do that. Don't do that. Shh, we're here. We're here. You know? And you expect the child to have the adult etiquette. And really, what is that? We've been trained and programmed to use white lies to make other people feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Remember, that's not something our kids learn. Not innately. We've got to train them into that.
Yeah.
And their honesty sometimes is exactly what we need. We just need to shape it a little bit better so that it can flow in the environment that they're in.
Yeah.
So, Missy, you are going through this firsthand because you've got still that toddler moving into we got the terrible 4s, we got terrible 3s. You know, she's really coming into her own personality now.
Oh, yes.
How do you and Dave in your environment get her ready? Because you are away from home. So how is that in your household?
Good question.
No. See, that's why we need this episode, because we've got to have parents thinking ahead of time. How do we prepare, not just for ourselves, because remember, that's a stressful time for all of us.
But for a child.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my sister has 4 kids.
Okay.
Luckily, so she's kind of right in the middle. So she does spend plenty of time with them.
Nice.
We're lucky because my his parents will come down here and stay in the villages.
Okay.
Cool place for a month, twice a year. So she's pretty familiar with them at this point. She's never done, because like growing up, my dad was one of 10. Everyone lived, small country town. Everyone was there. So when we did family gatherings, it was always a ton of people. Yeah, she hasn't really experienced that. And I can't picture when she would.
Gotcha.
So I'd probably try to prep her, maybe show some videos and whatnot. But something I was
love
thinking
that
of,
idea.
like thinking back to my childhood, something that would be helpful. So if I know, like, hey, we're going to see cousin Jane, I know she's on the spectrum, so you may see these things. So then to prep my daughter, hey, you could see this. She may do this. Because I remember growing up, I had an older cousin. I don't remember her name, but she was, I assume now she was on the spectrum.
Okay.
But she was kind of one, no one talked about her. She would just, I remember the one interaction, she came up and she would snap your bra strap. And then just walk away.
Oh,
so I was like 12 the first time that happened. I'm like, and everyone just stood there. No one did anything. That she just walked away. They're like, oh, that's just cousin Jane. What's her name is? That's just what she does. Just it's fine. Just ignore it.
Now I know everybody's thinking about this. What if it broke?
Oh, it did not, luckily. Luckily, it did not. That would have been awful, especially being 12. Lucky it did not.
Gotcha.
And I just remember, I'm like, what is this? And everyone's like, oh, no, it's fine. Just ignore it. It's fine.
Yeah.
And then just moving on. So it would have been nice to have a prep on that or a debrief, or, I mean, my family should have included her more as well. Just like, oh, no, she's going over there by herself. Just let her go. Let it go.
Gotcha.
So that prep would have been.
I think our biggest, especially that, because, think about it. If we've got some of our kids, hey, let me just come. That bra strap thing can be very painful. I just want to put that.
I have no doubt.
Yes. We got 2 gentlemen over here that are
Wait. Are you saying that she snapped her that like little like hook?
Yeah, like the clat, like right.
No. I understand.
So I was gonna snap. That was the spot.
Yeah.
So as you can tell, we can all feel the pain. But what we're getting to is it's all being prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Do not let this be a surprise. Talk to your children. Just like as adults, our biggest issue in relationships is communication.
Mm-hmm.
So as we prepare for the holidays, whether it is a birthday party, whether it's Thanksgiving celebration, whether it's Christmas holiday, or just traveling to see your family members, anytime you're going to put your child in an environment that they are not used to, let's give them some tools, just like this podcast. Give them some tips and some tricks so that they can be prepared.
Give them the training wheels.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. So, again, guys, from our family to yours, here's another episode of Pam and the Purple Couch. See us next time with more tips and tricks as we put training wheels on our life lessons.